Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today, our Lunch and Learn today. And forgive us, this is our first YouTube Live. So, we are still learning. So, today I will introduce myself. I am Nicauris Ubiera. I am one of the counselors at Like the Way Counseling Center. I mainly work with children, adolescents, and teens. And I also help parents restore relationships, their relationship with their children by providing parenting guidance and coaching. So, for today's purpose of this webinar, we are just going to give you guys a small glimpse of a parenting course that we will be starting soon. It will be 10 weeks. It will start the week of October 9th. And if you need more information, it's a parenting course. If you need more information, you can either type on the chat and type your email. If you would like more information, you can say parenting course info, or you can go to our website at likethewaycounseling.com and click on services and then parenting group. You can find all the information and what we will be covering every week for that course. So for today, I will briefly speak about a topic that it will be covered on that 10 weeks program, and it's called emotional regulation in children. So you guys can tell me if this resonates to you. Most parents are unconsciously asking their children to behave, but to behave in a way that doesn't trigger them, doesn't upset them, doesn't make them uncomfortable, angry, or feel like they don't have control. So we are constantly asking our children to behave, but in a way that they can keep their composure, that we don't feel embarrassed, so that are not triggered, or that we're not losing control over them, right? That's the most scary thing for a parent, feeling that they don't have control over their children. But with these classes, what we want to do is for you guys to look at parenting and your parenting style and your children in a different way. So all behavior is an expression of a need, whether it's being met or unmet. So every child or every expression that your child has is either because he has a need and that need has been met. So if the child is acting happy and acting joyful, it's because there's a need that he had and that need was met. Or if the child is having a tantrum, is because something is lacking and something the child is missing and is trying to get it from you as the parent. Because most adults haven't been able to heal their past or heal their childhood and their parenting style, then we tend to see our children through distorted lens of our past experiences, our fears, disappointments, and conditioning. But then we have our children carrying with this or paying for the consequences of our insecurities, our unhealthy relationships, and communication patterns. So let's start with defining emotional regulation. What is emotional regulation? It can be referred as the process of effectively managing and modulating one's emotional experiences and expressions. So, emotional regulation in children, it underscores the importance of early emotional development and the role of caregivers, parents, educators in fostering healthy emotional regulation skills. So, but it also is a dynamic process that evolves with age and experiences, and it has a significant impact on the child's social emotional development and overall well-being, which means that depending on your child's emotional ability and maturity, it will determine their overall mental, physical, and emotional well-being. So emotional regulation, it's something that can be learned. So it's a learned behavior, it's a teachable behavior. So children often learn from observing their parents. If you're not regulated, your child most likely won't be regulated. So the parent should model healthy emotional regulation strategies and for example, staying calm in stressful situations and expressing emotions in a constructive way. This way, you can provide your child with valuable lessons, and the child will start picking up those things to see how you confront the world, how you confront challenges, how do you disagree with people, and they will imitate that behavior. So, how can we help our children regulate their emotions? Good question, right? We have to first understand emotions. We have to let our children know. We have to teach them how to understand their emotions. So, teaching children to recognize and label different emotions, for example, happy, sad, angry, scared. But we have to do it in a way that is through fun activities or play. We can either do emotion charades, we can do drawing faces or using emotion cards, but we have to help them identify the emotion and they can visualize it, they can see it. This is when you have a small children. When you have older children, you're not having a flashcard showing a sad face. And they're going to tell you, oh, I'm sad, right? You will use other techniques for other older children. So another thing is expressing emotion and validating emotion. This is the big thing. We have to encourage our children to share their feelings with words, to talk about it. They can either do it through art, they can do coloring, they can do journaling. If they don't want to talk to you, they can write about their emotions. Also, we can role play various situations to practice expressing emotions appropriately. Validating emotion. This is something that parents should acknowledge and validate the child's emotions because you're letting them know it's okay to feel the way they feel. So, for example, if you have a child crying, you don't say, why are you crying? You shouldn't be crying, or you shouldn't act that way, because you're telling your child your emotion is not important. I need you to be quiet in a way. That's what we're telling them. We need to teach our children to be self-aware. So helping children identify their personal triggers or situations that make them feel certain emotions. Understanding triggers and understanding what makes me upset, what gets me there, or what triggers me. Helping them identify them. Teaching them to recognize physical symptoms of emotions, for example, racing hearts, sweaty palms. These are cues for self regulation. We can also teach emotional regulation through deep breathing and relaxation techniques, but there's something I would tell you today. I don't recommend deep breathing and relaxation techniques when the child is going through a strong emotion. Let's say he's going through, or she, tantrum, or something is going on. And you can apply this to a small children or to a teenager. So let's say the child is having a meltdown and the child is not doing okay. So instead of the parent coming to their level and saying, oh, let's do a deep breathing, let's do some relaxation so that you can come down. Unconsciously, what you're telling the child is, I don't care about what you're expressing right now. I need you to be quiet. I need you to calm down. Instead, in a way, we're also teaching the child to avoid whatever they're feeling and to redirect their focus to something else. So instead of avoiding or helping the child get away from it, we have to help them get through it and help them express what they're feeling. We can introduce simple deep breathing exercises. I recommend it early in the morning. I recommend my clients to do it as a devotional. If they have their prayer time, they have a time where they're just trying to relax to start the day. This is a good moment for them to do deep breathing techniques, not when the child is having a tantrum. So deep breathing techniques is to help the child feel calm throughout the day. But when the child is having a tantrum or a disagreement or a strong emotion, it's better to talk about it in the moment. We have to teach our children to have problem solving skills. Once a child has identified their triggers, we spoke about identifying triggers, we can help them brainstorm solutions. So we can also encourage them when they're talking and expressing their feelings to use I statements. For example, I need, I feel, I want. We have to teach our children to be empathetic, teaching empathy and perspective taking, and create an emotional supportive environment. We have to create this at home, an environment where the child feels emotionally supported and safe. Feeling safe is crucial for a child, because when a child feels safe in their home or in an environment, it will allow them to grow emotionally and to open up and trust adults. If a child doesn't trust an adult, and well, if a child doesn't feel safe, they will not trust the adult. They would not open up. The way we can do this is by encouraging open communications about feelings and emotions. We can provide comfort and reassurance when children are upset or distressed. We can also avoid harsh criticism or punitive responses to emotional responses. For example, telling a child, no, why you're crying? I'm going to punish you. If you don't stop crying, I will. You are punishing the child, but you are threatening the child that whatever they're feeling is not valid. We have to also model healthy emotional regulation by managing our own emotions in a constructive way. If I react in a dysregulated way, my child will do the same, because remember, they're imitating our behavior. And we have to promote understanding and respecting of others' emotions and others' perspective. Everybody has an opinion. We have to respect them. But the same way, that child's perspective and emotions should be valued so that they know my feelings matter. So, for example, I had a child who was telling a parent that they didn't want to play. Let's call this child Tommy. I don't want to play with Tommy. I don't like playing with him. I don't like him. The parent's response was, why don't you like him? You should like Tommy. He's a good kid. What do you think is wrong with this interaction between the parent and the child? The parent is unvalidating what the child is feeling. He doesn't want to play with that kid. He doesn't want to play with Tommy. So what should the parent do? Instead of questioning why the child feels that way, the parent can ask the child in a different way, how come you don't like Tommy? Did something happen? Did something went wrong? Why not why don't you like Tommy, but how come you don't like Tommy? Tell me. An example for a teenager could be, let's say, teenagers who are now trying new clothing and new things, and a parent comes to a child saying, that doesn't look right. Why you always like to wear that? You're questioning what the child likes. So instead, you can say, hey, how come you haven't tried this new style of clothing? So it depends the way we communicate and the way we express, or yeah, how we convey a message. The child would take it in a good or in a bad way. So by doing these things, we are letting your child know that their opinion matters, that their perspective is valued and respected, same as others. Coping strategies and emotional regulation tools. So we need to teach our children, like I said, to trust an adult. We have to help them trust an adult. But the way we do it is by having open conversations, engaging in creative activities and things they enjoy. We can also encourage them to talk to someone they trust. It could be an adult they trust. It doesn't necessarily mean you as a parent, but someone they can be open to. Also, we can teach our children emotional regulation tools like mindfulness and mind and body connection. And the way we can do this is we can create journals, or we can give them journals. We can have stress bowls or calming corners in classrooms or in the home, so that the child know he has a space where he can go and calm down or express his feelings and emotion. Positive self-talk. We need to teach our children to challenge negative thoughts or negative emotions and replace them with positive affirmations. Instead of saying, why are you thinking that way? Or I think I'm not valued. I think I am worthless. Trying to change that negative thought, or helping our children change a negative thought for positive affirmation, for example, I am valued, I am loved, I was created to the image of God, and so on. Also, encouraging a growth mindset by praising effort and resilience, not shaming bad behavior, not telling the kid, um, look and so, he's better than you, or you're crying like a baby. Why are you doing that? But helping the child recognize their mistakes and also finding solutions for their mistakes instead of shaming what they're doing or shaming their behavior. Stress management. This is crucial in emotional regulation. We have to be aware. We have to be aware of common sources of stress in children. So our kids are dealing with either school, sports, peer pressure, relationships. And if you have an older child, they are thinking about going to college, applying for a job, and becoming a young adult. So we need to find strategies to help them reduce stress and understand them. Sometimes we have parents who say to their kids, why can you wash the dishes? You have nothing to do. They have a lot on their plate. Even though we think they don't do much, then go to school. But think about it. If you have a child who goes to school from 8 to 3, then there's some kids who do sports. Sometimes they have to stay after school. There's some other kids that do music, band. So there are activities that they have to go to after school, and they be getting home by 7, 8. Then they have to do homework. They have to deal with, again, peer pressure, relationship, friendships. So if you think about it, in a child's world, it's a lot. It's a lot. So that's why I always tell the parents, you need to validate what they are going through. I know you have a busy life, but so do they. They have a busy life too. Teaching conflict resolution and encouraging independence. We need to teach our children to grow, but to grow in a responsible way, to grow and to be responsible with their emotions, to teach them conflict resolution skills, including active listening, compromising, and negotiation. This is really good. Sometimes I don't have that energy to be negotiating with my 6-year-old, but I have to. Why? Because I have to let him know that it's not what mom says, and it's not only how mom says it, because that skill, they're going to use it and they're going to need it later on in life when they are having relationships and when they are having disagreement with people. They don't have to be the, oh, yes, everything is yes. But they know they have a sense of self-negotiation. No, I don't like this. Why not? How can we meet in the middle and we can both agree to something? So compromising and negotiating with your child is good. Another thing that helps a child be emotionally regulated is setting clear boundaries. Setting clear boundaries and consistent boundaries for a child's behavior, it will help them feel secure. And also, it will help them understand there's limits. There's limits acceptable in emotional expression. They're okay. You can be mad. You don't have to punch the wall. You can disagree with me. You don't have to hit your brother. You can be angry or anxious, but you don't have to curse me out. So being respectful and knowing, setting clear boundaries, what the child can and cannot do, but they can be able to express their emotions and feelings. So when the child knows and has clear boundaries and clear clear boundaries, it can reduce confusion and emotional outbursts, because they know my dad wouldn't allow that, my mom is not going to accept that. So finally, we need to seek for professional help when needed. If you have a child who's constantly struggling with emotional regulation, and it may be beneficial for you to seek for professional help. You could be a therapist, a counselor, or someone that specializes in children, adolescents, and also in mental health. So now we are open for questions. I know this was very brief, but like I said, We will have a 10 weeks program that will cover everything that I spoke about and many more topics. So if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. So I will read one question. It says, what do you recommend for those teenagers that just like speaking about their emotions and shut down? What can we do as a parent? So having a teenager that that doesn't like to speak about their emotions. So a teenager who is shutting down and not speaking about the emotions, then you will have to see first, what is the child's personality? Is the child an introvert or an extrovert? Trying to find ways that you can get the information. So we are not investigators. We're not trying to in a way, we're not here to let the child know that I want to know what's going on in your life because I'm trying to be nosy, but I want to be part of your life. So engaging in conversations with the child where you express your emotions and you express your feelings to them. For example, one thing I would do with my daughter, she's not very expressive. She doesn't like to talk about emotions. What I do with her is when I come from work, I say, ooh, I had a heavy day at work. I feel this way. I feel a little stressed today because things didn't go my way. So I'm teaching her how to be expressive. I'm teaching her that here, and also remember what I said, you need to create a safe space where the child feel that he can trust the adult. So it depends what's the relationship with the child, what's the relationship of the parent and the child, and also to see if the child feels safe at home. If he does, it means that the child is not expressive. Then you will need to find ways to help the child be more open to you. But again, we have ways that we can manage that. We have ways that we can get to a child without being interrogating the child. So, also, do you believe that validating their emotions could be the reason that they shut down in the first place? It could be. So, like I said, if you haven't created that safe environment, then the child might think, my emotions don't matter. My emotions, they don't care about my emotions. So, why would I share them? So it could be that child had an experience with a parent with that he felt unvalidated, or whatever the child was expressing, he felt like it wasn't important for the parent. Because there's one thing, we have to be intentional. We have to be present. If your child is talking to you, we have to let go of this. We have to let go of whatever we're going through, and we have to be in tune. We have to be intentional with what the child is saying. If you miss that moment, you can miss your child forever in the way that they feel my mom doesn't care, daddy doesn't care, so why would I share? So that could be a possibility. How respect, how harmful can it how harmful can it be if a teenager feels disrespected? So I don't understand the question very much. Is it that how harmful it is if a teenager feels disrespected? So if a child feels disrespected, they're gonna do the same thing. They will give that to the parent. If I'm disrespected, I'm not gonna show respect because remember they copy from us. So it's how harmful it is. Well, it can be harmful for um later on relationship that they have. Um any other question? Okay, so my son is too shy. Is that normal? So somebody said your son is too shy. Is that normal? It depends. Like I said, if your child is an introvert, it's expected to be shy. But then if you have a child who has never been shy and then all of a sudden start being shy, there's something going on. There something happened. Um, but also, for example, boys, they tend to be more active and more um more active when they're younger, but then as they grow older they become a little bit more calm. That's normal. So it depends. You will have to see if your child has never been shy and now he's shy, or he has always been this way. It means that he has a introvert personality. Let's see. Any other questions? And type in the chat. Also, I believe you can type in YouTube chat. They will come directly to us. I will give a couple of more minutes. And remember, if you would like to be part of the 10 weeks program for parents, it will start the week of October 9th. If you need more information, you can type on the chat, type your email. We can send you the information. Or again, you can go to lightthewaycounseling.com, click services and parenting group. And we will cover many things. As a matter of fact, let me tell you what are the topics that we will be covering on that 10 weeks module. So these are the topics. We have setting your intentions as an empowered parent, the 10 pillars of transformation parenting, making sense of attachment science, the nervous system science, and emotional intelligence. Week 4, we have emotional regulation that we spoke about it today, but we will speak about it more thoroughly. Exploring anger and healthy aggression, the peace process, empower conversations, and playful parenting. So empower conversations is for older children, for those parents who have teenagers or older children, and playful parenting is more for parents who have their younger children. Week 8, we have the power of showing up. Week 9, we have raising emotionally secure children. And then the last one is your intentions as a transformational parent. So, yeah, we have a link. You can see the link is at the bottom. You can click and you can go directly to the parenting group class that we will have in a couple of weeks. So, okay, so we have another question. Ever since my daughter turned 12, everything is, I don't know. How do I deal with that? That is very common. Almost a teenager. So what's going on in a 12-year-old's world? So there's a lot going on. Almost a teenager, dealing with identity. This is where they start discovering who they are, what they like. A lot of confusion comes in this stage in life. Regularly, we see a lot of kids at the age of 12, 13, 14 dealing with identity issues, sexuality issues, is because they are discovering themselves. So nothing makes sense in their head. And that's why everything is like, I don't know, because they don't know what they're going through. They don't know why their hormones are acting up. They don't know many things, but this is something very common. What to do about it? Put words in their mouth. Okay, what you mean you don't know? Do you want to go out or not? Or give them choices. For example, if a teen tells you, I don't know what to eat, give them the choice. Okay, I have burgers or hot dog. Pick, just like a kid. But be patient. Be patient, because again, especially girls, they're going through a lot of hormonal changes, a lot of identity changes, a lot of things. They're discovering themselves. So reassure, create this safe environment. Don't push her. Don't tell her why you don't know, or don't blame her. Don't shame her. Just understand that she is going through a lot. Okay? I see that all the time. Okay, so another question is, are those trauma responses being an introvert? No, being an introvert is a personality thing. Being an extrovert as well. So what I said was, if you have a child who has always been an introvert and then is an extrovert, something is going on, or vice versa. If you have a child who has always been an extrovert and then slowly changes out of nowhere to being an introvert, quiet, to themselves, then maybe something is going on. So it's not a trauma response to be an introvert. No, it's just personality. Some people are more calm, some people are more um, active or outgoing. That also has to do with, again, personality, either if the person is sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, or the last one, yeah, melancholic. So it depends the person's personality. If the person is melancholic and phlegmatic, the person tends to be introvert. It's more calm, it's more slow. If the person is choleric and sanguine, the person is more outgoing and extrovert. Okay. Any more questions? I think that was the last question we had. So if you enjoyed today's class webinar, please like our page, subscribe to YouTube Live, to YouTube, and also we are in Instagram, Like the Way Counseling. Like our page, share our page, and we will have more of these topics, not only about parenting, but also in many other topics. We will have these type of webinars. So I hope you enjoy. If there's no more questions, I think that will be all for today. Thank you for joining, and thank you for your questions.